Hello, here I am again. A few days later than I expected, but last week was pretty tricky. I don't know if anybody else felt it. There was a huge solar flare apparently 2 days ago, and the week was a very special week, crossing in over a bridge into another dimension. I don't fully understand it, but other people on the internet have mentioned this very special week, and lots of unusual awakenings, third eyes and dreams and da 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 da. But of course, being a sensitive person I am, it always knocks me for sick, good or bad. Any energy that's different, I have to go and lie down for a couple of days. So it's been quite tricky, but interesting. And it's a lovely day today. I haven't been anywhere I don't go anywhere anyway much, but today I thought I just wanted to talk about my time in Italy, in Assisi, when I met St. Francis. Well, I think it was him. I don't know. But Assisi's in Italy, of course, and it's a place where St. Francis was born. It's a strange little place, really. It is like a little village. It's not very big at all. And wherever you want to get to it, you have to climb up a kind of very steep hill, or pavement, wherever. And all round, whichever direction you come from, is a climb. So on a really hot day when I had to climb up to find the cake shop at the top, I arrived looking like a beetroot, and I was halfway up when I came across a very small little church, and it was a dear little thing set in the wall, actually, just one little pew and a little cross on the altar. And it was so cool and so lovely, and I sat there for a bit, and then I came out again and grabbed hold of gendarmerie, is it? aqua, water. And he showed me to the top of the hill where there was a fountain, and it's a 12th century fountain, of course. It's been there for a very long time. So I guess St. Francis would have sat there and taught his pupils, I don't know. But he was born in the 13th century, so it's pretty ancient. And I love, he's a friend of mine, and a very sweet, kind, lovely and dear little man, of course. And I mentioned it before in my talk on the Franciscan friary, but this is in Italy, in Assisi, his hometown. And it's so pretty. You know, the Italian villages, they have hanging baskets with geraniums in them and lovely cakes. So I decided to go to the Basilica. The Basilica is a huge church that was built, I think, after it was actually earthquaked quite a bit, Assisi, and he built a very small church when God said to him, rebuild my church. And he built a very tiny little church that from scratch, and of course over the years it was earthquaked and so forth, so another church has been built on top, a big huge basilica. But a little tiny church you can still get into and go and see. And in the crypt, I went down to the crypt, and it was a terribly emotional time, you know. I mean, I think that body has been there since the 13th century. It was encased, obviously, but you couldn't really get very close, although you're behind, you know, a wire and a door and stuff. But I just sobbed and sobbed. I thought, gosh, I just seemed that I knew him, you know. It was a remembrance and a fantastically lovely feeling from coming from this place where he was encased in a glass case. So that was kind of my beginning, and I thought, well, gosh, you know, I want to go outside and get some fresh air. And there's a huge celebration. I think it's called, I've written it down. I don't know, my Italian is not terribly good. It's a celebration when all the families get together. It's an ancient tradition, and come down all the different avenues that lead to the main square, and the individual families process down through the alleys, and they're all dressed in medieval costume. You know, it's beautiful. The ladies with their tall hats, and absolutely beautiful. And they all process down these little alleyways into the main square for a huge event where each family competes in there's different skills, like different antics that they sword fighting, stuff like that, and each family has to compete to see. It's called, oh, it's not. oh I'll see if I can say it in Italian. Calendinaggio. Okay, that's the time. I wouldn't attempt to say St. Francis's name, his family name, because that is Bernardino something. It's quite complex. Though I'm quite good at Italian, having spent several lifetimes in Italy, but I can't remember it, especially talking like this. It's a bit well, I don't think I'd do it justice really. So anyway, that's what it's called, and it's usually the end of May, June. It's a lovely, lovely day. And I was in the crowd, because it is hard to see things in crowds, isn't it? I was standing there taking shots, and my film ran out, and I was so frustrated because it was all these colours and acrobats and people hanging from the balconies and candles and, well, not candles, flags, coloured flags and so forth. And each family had its own, what's it called? It's a flag. It's an emblem. That's it. Each family was carrying, and it's a fantastic time. It's really, really fantastic. There was a little man standing next to me, and he was about my height. I'm only about 5'2", and he wasn't a lot taller than me. Dark beard, dark hair, and I don't know, I had a shiver went through me as I stood next to him, and he said, "Do you want to film?" And bless his little heart, he gave me a brand new 30mm film, free, just gave it to me. And I was so grateful, and then he disappeared. And I sort of felt I knew who that was. Dear little St. Francis, he's a sweet little darling, he is. But I don't know, I didn't ask him his name, but the feeling that came from him and the kindness, I mean, to give me a film is quite special, isn't it? You know. Anyway, after that, I decided to go and have a look at his where he travelled, because it's very beautiful around the countryside. It's very beautiful, and I don't know how I got there. I don't think I didn't walk. I got a taxi, and they had to wait for me as I travelled down the winding path through the trees. It's beautiful, it really is, and came across a little cave where he actually stayed for quite a while. I mean, these ascetics, they do give up so much, and they do go through this period of actually being very poor and, well, just depending on God, you know. That was his mission. He was a great teacher, but he lived in this little cave. It was just a cave, nothing. I mean, obviously in his time, I suppose he had some covering for night time, because it was very cold in the middle of summer. So I thought, gosh, that was very brave to stay in this little cave. I think sometime after that someone found, I think it was Claire, his friend, who started the order of St. Francis for the ladies. But I think sometime after she found him a little cottage. This is where he actually died later. But this cave, as you walk through the cave, you can sort of feel his devotion, just lovely. And it leads out onto a lovely walk, quite a long walk actually, through the trees. And there's a statue of him, all in gold. It's gold. It looks like gold. Standing there, because he used to talk to the birds. He's very fond of the birds and the animals. And you come across where he used to walk. So it was really quite a beautiful day, a really beautiful day. And today is the sort of day I remember it. I'm not sure I've got anything else to say about that really, because it was such a lovely day. The basilica, it's all with the village, but it was very sad that so many cranes and building works, it's always going through earthquakes, and they all seem to have to be rebuilt. So I suppose the highlight was that meeting him, I know it was him, and having the lovely day, all the colours, and of course Italy is so joyful, full of fun. People, they talk to each other, you know, and it was a lovely day. And then going back to sit on the balcony outside one of the hotels, sipping Prosecco. Oh yeah, those were the days. I think it was a time of sunflowers as well, though I didn't get to see the sunflowers. I went over to stay with one of these tour things. Mum had just died and left me some money, and we did travel through some sunflower fields, which was so beautiful. But the whole day and the whole time, and it was very magical. So anyway, I think that was perhaps a very short one today, which is just as well, because I've been a bit iffy the last 2 or 3 weeks really, but the last week was pretty interesting, pretty intense. Oh yes, I got a new computer. It came in the end. The friend of mine came out last Tuesday, and he took it away, didn't he, for a while, 3 or 4 days. I really missed it, so he brought it back last week, just a little bit, and it's fantastic. Fantastico. It is. It's faster and better, but the camera's not any better. He gave me a different camera. I think it's me that needs to look different, not the camera. Anyway, that doesn't matter, does it? So I'm going to go off now then. I've got to think of a new one for next week. Nobody seems to be very interested in my pilot story, which I thought would be very popular. So that didn't go down too well. It is difficult, these videos. You've got to think of the right wording, the right title, and all the little things that go with it. And of course, you have to draw the crowd somehow. Draw people that are interested. And I don't think I've got it quite right yet. I think I just do this to myself, tell a story, because I'm a writer, as you know. I've written loads and loads of stories. I'm going to have a few put on Amazon soon, so that should be interesting. They're not all mystical stories. One is called Turn Left for Rome. Some of them are Italian, because I had this. Shall I go on a bit more? I don't know. What time is it? 10? Well, no, that's what I want. This friend, kind of acquaintance of mine, who's in his 70s, we decided to drive through Italy. I can't explain when I went camping. And it's called Turn Left for Rome. That's for another day. So there was strange things that happened on that journey you would not believe. I'm surprised I'm still here. So I'm glad the little St.Francis was with me. And I call him Francesco. He doesn't mind, that's his real name, Francesco, somebody will. And he's listed actually in this book. This is a good book if you're interested in the spiritual masters and so forth. It's called In the Company of Masters. It's written by, the master is Master Wazi, but he's got a pupil, Phil Mortisu, Chinese, Japanese, and he's written this book, and it's individual stories about all the different masters. Some I've never heard of, well, I mean, obviously, but St. Francis is in this book, how he came across some children. The person who's written the book met him, St. Francis, on a bench seat watching children, and the children were swinging quite freely and having fun, and Francesco said to this person, he said, do you know why children are so free and full of fun and full of joy? And of course he said, because they have no fear. And of course children don't have fear. They laugh and joke and do stupid things, then we're always telling them, don't do that, you'll hurt yourself, you burn yourself, So we put fear into them, really. I mean, wisely. We don't realise it, but they learn fear. And he mentioned that in this book. That's something that he would like to change. Bless him. Anyway, there we go. Now 12 minutes again. Can't I go on? And then I've got my new computer. I've got another camera. It's not any better. I think it's me that needs to do something. But the lighting's not good. Anyway, so there we go. Have a good day, as they say. And we are coming out of this crisis, aren't we? Slowly. So do take care of yourselves. God bless for now. Bye-bye.